Hello and welcome to Wednesday for the Pagan Perspective. I'm your host Eric. This week's topic, this time we're talking about protection. Protection. Use it. Do it. Whatever. The point of protection is to keep yourself safe. Obviously. There's lots of ways that you can go about it. You can do spells, you can do shielding, as Kara mentioned on Monday. You can do energy work, you know, falls under spells or something thereof. I do a similar thing, only I make mine a little more tangible to myself. I've got a couple of tattoos that are specifically meant to be protective. I'll get to those in a minute, but many of you know that I use rune magic rather exclusively. I do use, you know, oils and incenses and other various stylized symbolism, which I'm going to show you some of that around my house as well a little bit later. But let's start with the idea of using magic as a protective, or as a protectant. Now, one of the ways that you can do this is to actually draw out or write out until you understand how to use whatever energy, whatever archetype you're going to be using. One of the ways people do that is with talismans. Now, everybody knows that, for example, Kara wears her pentacle, or her pentagram, I forget what she calls it. I do the same. I wear my Mjolnir, which is the Thor's hammer. Here, I'll take it off a little bit so that you can see it. But it never leaves the room. The only time I ever take it off, and it's farther away from me than arm's reach. Get that? Yeah, that's my Mjolnir. That's the Thor's hammer, for those of you who don't know what Mjolnir is, or if you're asking yourselves who. Mjolnir is just the hammer, the name of the hammer that Thor carries around with him. And that's one of the things you can do, is invoking a god or godhood or the archetype of protection, which is, in the Norse pantheon, is Thor. So if I wanted to invoke Thor for protection, that would be a good way to go about it. Wearing the Mjolnir is a very simple way to do that on a daily basis. Now, you can use an incantation, or if you have a mantra when you put it on, that's one thing. I don't generally do that, other than I do kiss it for good luck and protection every morning before I put it on, and every night when I take it off, to the aplomb and probably surprise my wife if she's watching this. But that's one of the simple things that you can do. Another one of the things that's a little more in-depth, and I'm actually going to have you come over here for this, but I get tattoos. Now, this tattoo was specifically meant to be protection. Now, this is the defense rune. This is Thurisas, which is Thor's rune. I had that put on about 2 years ago. And this one is Iwaz, which is also a protective rune. And a little bit of a sneak peek. You guys can see this one right here in the middle. This one here, that looks like a chicken's foot, is called Algis. It is for flexibility and protection. Now, that one's not quite done yet, so that's just the line, and it's just gonna be much better looking when it's finished. But we'll go ahead and I'll explain a few more of the things that are around the house when we get there. Let's go downstairs and take a look at some of the other stuff we've got going on. So, as you can see, this would be the spot that you'd usually see me in. This is actually my front room. This is the first room you come into when you enter our house. We have quite a few symbols in this room specifically for protection and defense of our home and our loved ones. The first thing you'll see over here on my right is the the apothecary cabinet. This is where we keep all of our herbs and incenses and oils and other various things. Now, if you look right up here above the apothecary cabinet, you can see the basket hilt claymore that we've got. Now, like I said before, weapons just on display can be kind of a symbolism to the protection of the home and the family. I mean, it's kind of a running, well, some people would call it a running gag in our house, because besides the basket hilt claymore, that's my wife, thank you, honey. Besides the basket hilt claymore, we have the Robert de Bruce claymore, which I love this one. This was my first blade. It's one of my favorites. And if you come looking over here, not only do we have the flail, I like the flail too. It's mean and kind of nasty, but we've got this big, ugly battle axe. It's not of the same timeline, but it still works and serves its purpose. But we also have the dragon chevrons, because in the what is it, the Druidic pantheon?
Yeah, it's the drakes.
The drakes, yes. In the Druidic pantheon, the drakes are the four elements and protectors and visages of. Now, if you come over here and look at this, we also, every Ostara? Imbolc. Every Imbolc, we do breeds crosses, and we put those up also for protection. The last thing I want to show you guys is what I do. I hope you can see it still. It's been a couple of years, but right here on the door, yeah, on the door, we've got lots of runes. That was one of our former roommates. Put that up. Have the runes on the door jamb for protection. This one actually says welcome, and over here on the opposing side, this says, in runic, it says friends. F-R-I-E-N-D-S, friends. So our friends are welcome, and then there are other runes on the door for various reasons. But what I was wanting to show to you,
and the Om.
Oh, and the Om. But what I was wanting to show to you was this right here on the actual door. Oh yeah, you can see that okay. This rune here was intended to be Thurisas, which is a protection rune, Thor's rune. And this one here was actually intended to be Kano, which is the light rune, so that the communication and happy home feelings would reside here. But outside of that, I mean, there are things, I put runes on my car, I put runes on my work truck, I draw runes on a daily basis if I'm feeling, you know, extra vulnerable. But yeah, just do something about it and be active about it. You know, don't expect that magic and bind runes and rune energy and anything else. Don't expect that that's going to get you out of a tight situation as much as keeping your wits about you. So be safe, be happy. By all means, use whatever means necessary to keep yourself safe. But until next time, Odin be with you.
An isle so fair, an isle so green, known by many names. Feel the pulse of the land, the blood boils within your veins. Someone go down to the holy well and raise the spirit.